on the Brett Kavanaugh front, Michael Harriot is tweeting, "I'm just here to remind you all that when a cop killed Brian Hundley, a jury found that the cop lied." This is Rebecca N. tweeted it originally. In this civil case, the family of a black dentist who was stopped in his car and shot by an off-duty policeman. That family sued the officer for damages. A jury found the officer lied when he claimed the dentist lunged at him and awarded the family $242,000. Brett Kavanaugh overturned that verdict. Right. And now we're finding, I mean, just the multiple lies of Brett Kavanaugh. It's just breathtaking, the lies of Brett Kavanaugh. He testified before the United States Senate under oath that he learned of Deborah Ramirez's claims in September when the article was published by Vanity Fair, I believe it was, or in the New Yorker, when the New Yorker article came out. And now it turns out that back in July, Brett Kavanaugh was texting and talking with his old friends from Yale about Deborah Ramirez, and trying to basically line up their stories. There's an amazing piece over at Huffington Post today, right now, titled "All the Lies Brett Kavanaugh Told," and it goes through them. He, under oath, repeatedly, he said, "Dr. Ford's allegation is not merely uncorroborated, it is refuted by the very people she says were there, including a longtime friend of hers." That's his actual exact testimony. But the reality is none of those people who were at the party, Mark Judge, Leland Kaiser, P.J. Smith, none of them ever refuted anything. They simply have all said, "I don't remember." He says he was never at a gathering like the one that Blasey Ford described. But on his calendar on that very day, July 1st, so he gathered for brewskis with two of the three people Blasey said she remembers being there. Small gathering, beer, Judge, Brett, PJ, check, check, check. So he lied about that under oath. He lied about his knowledge of Christine Blasey Ford. He said we did not travel in the same social circles. Excuse me, he was going to this party with Squee on July 1st, 82, and Squee was dating Kavanaugh. Was dating Blasey Ford. He says, "I did not drink beer to the point of blacking out." Well, his friend Dr. Liz Swisher says, "Brett was a sloppy drunk, and I know because I drank with him. He'd end up slurring his words, stumbling." Well, that's something that's commonly associated with blackout drinking. James, I think it's like the media or whatever. Some of these people don't understand what blackout drinking is. Blackout drinking doesn't mean you fall over unconscious, which is how Kavanaugh kept referring to it in the testimony. Blackout drinking means you stop remembering what happened, but you keep doing it, right? You're still having conversations with people. You're still doing things. And when you wake up the next morning, you have no recollection of having done it. And he talks about being a blackout drunk several times. He said another lie, the drinking age was 18 in Maryland. No, it was 21. He lied about the meaning of boof and Devil's Triangle. He lied about Renate alumnus. He lied about having no connections to Yale. In fact, he was a legacy student. His grandfather went there. He didn't get there by his working my tail off. 25% of the students at Yale are legacy students. They get in because one of their parents or grandparents went to Yale. He said, "Nobody accused me of sexual misconduct until last week." No, it was back in July. He said, "Mark Judge's memoir was fictionalized." No, Judge says this book is based on actual experiences. And don't get me started on Judge Alex Kozinski. Actually, I will start on it. Judge Alex Kozinski was a mentor to Brett Kavanaugh. He clerked for him in 91 and 92. Kozinski was first accused of sadistic and abusive behavior toward women in 1985. Reports about his harassment of female clerks, this is before Kavanaugh started working for him. Reports of his harassment of female clerks and his maintenance of a website hosting porn came out in 2008. Kozinski was also known to send to a listserv wildly inappropriate content that demeaned women. He was admonished in 2009, stepped down as Chief Judge of the Ninth Circuit in 2014. And yet Kavanaugh appeared with him at a Federalist Society event in 2015 after he had stepped down because of his sexual misconduct. And of course, Kavanaugh lied about that. He lied about his involvement with the William Pryor nomination. He said, quote, "I was not involved in handling this nomination." Then we see an email where Kyle Sampson, a Justice Department staffer, says, "How'd the Pryor interview go? Call me." And, you know, other emails. He lied about his involvement with the Judge Charles Pickering Sr. nomination. He lied about his involvement with warrantless wiretapping in the Bush administration. In fact, John Yoo corresponded with him about this. He sent a letter to John Yoo, who was then the Office of Legal Counsel, saying, "Any results yet on the Fourth Amendment implications of random constant surveillance of phone and email conversations?" Really? In 2003, he got stolen documents from a mole inside the Senate staffers. I'm not sure who the guy was working for, and he passed the. No, I'm sorry. He was in the Bush White House. I don't know who the staffer was, but the staffer passed him this information. He lied about it, and he lied about Donald Trump. He said no president has conducted a more thorough examination in history. It was a lie, just a flat-out, blatant lie.